When you think of Godzilla's arch nemesis, who do you think of? Most people would probably gravitate towards King Ghidorah, or maybe Mechagodzilla. He's pretty cool. Maybe even Super Mechagodzilla. Damn, these names are dumb as f***. Who else? Maybe Mothra, or I don't know, Jet Jaguar. Who am I kidding? Nobody's saying Jet Jaguar.
Oh, come on, man.
All valid options. But there is one kaiju that stands above all the rest. One monster that is the perfect foil to Godzilla, who will stop at nothing to make sure everything he loves and knows burns. Born from the very thing that destroyed the original Destroyer. No opponent of Godzilla has ever stood on business like this dude. And his name is
Destroyah.
Brother,
Look, I love Destroyer. Destroyer?
What?
I love Destroyer. I will fully admit I am a little biased, as Destroyer is my favorite Godzilla villain, and Godzilla vs. Destroyer also happens to be my favorite Godzilla film outside of the original and -1. But those films are a category of their own. And just a little bit more about me, I am a huge Godzilla nerd. I have seen all of his films, all of the Japanese ones. I was a fan of Godzilla before he even got his first American movie. Well, his first good American movie. Let me tell you, I love Godzilla and I love watching Godzilla movies, but trust me, there is some serious stinkers in this catalog, holy moly.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
But with that being said, there are some bangers out there, and Godzilla vs. Destroyah is one of them. And I do genuinely believe that Destroyah is Godzilla's penultimate villain. And if this video doesn't prove that to you, then go ahead and flame me in the comments. But I am telling y'all, you are sleeping on Destroyah. Destroyah originates from the Heisei series of Godzilla, which ran from 1984 with the return of Godzilla and ended with Godzilla vs. Destroyah in 1995. The Heisei series of Godzilla films is probably my favorite era of Godzilla, hosting some of the all-time greats and fan favorites. Godzilla 1984 is one of the most revered reboot films of all time, especially among the fan base. Godzilla vs. Biollante had one of the most unique villains in the Godzilla series up until that point. Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah provided the definitive take on one of the series' most iconic villains. I said one of the most iconic villains, and gave us Mecha King Ghidorah, who's so freaking cool. I would give my left toe to see him adapted in the American films. I love Mecha King Ghidorah. We also got bangers like Godzilla vs. Mothra, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, and Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. And I love those films with all of my heart. I really do, but none of them hit quite as hard as Godzilla vs. Destroyah. For anyone who isn't familiar with the Heisei series, allow me to provide some context. This film was the conclusion to this 10-year run of Godzilla. It was, by all means, the Godzilla endgame of the time. Although we did later get a separate Godzilla endgame-esque finale with Final Wars that came in 2004, that was 9 years later. Godzilla vs. Destroyah came out in 1995, and at that particular point in time, it was meant to be the finale to the franchise. It was intended to be the last Toho-produced Godzilla film of the 20th century to make room for a certain TriStar-produced Godzilla movie, which
shall not be named.
Now, there are a few big reasons why I consider Destroyah to be Godzilla's biggest op. First and foremost, I mean, look at him. He is quite literally his biggest op, like physically. This looks like he hits the kaiju gym every day, and let me tell you, bro does not skip leg day.
Damn, boy, he's thick!
He looks so menacing, and his design does a great job of capturing his evil hater energy. But my reasons go deeper. The origin and conception of Destroyah is a foil to Godzilla. He was literally created with the very thing that killed the original Godzilla, the Oxygen Destroyer.
Oh, brother!
Now, you may remember the Oxygen Destroyer from King of the Monsters. However, the original use of the Oxygen Destroyer is what I'm referring to here. Godzilla 1954 is still, to this day, Godzilla 1954 is still, to this day, the definitive take on the character. I love the Godzilla versus films, but Godzilla is always at his best when he's the villain of the movie. A commentary on the destruction of humanity's creations and desire to play God. He was created from nuclear bomb testing in the ocean. And in that film, in order to defeat Godzilla, a brilliant scientist named Dr. Serizawa concocted the Oxygen Destroyer, a device that produces a devastating chemical reaction that eliminates all underwater oxygen in the immediate vicinity. Now, this film has very potent themes about World War II Japan and the hysteria surrounding nuclear weaponry. I mean, this was post-Hiroshima, so do the math. At this point in history, man had not only become capable of destroying the world, but destroying itself in the process. Godzilla is a manifestation of that idea. But there's something interesting about this topic that not a lot of people talk about. In the film, Dr. Serizawa is very hesitant to use the Oxygen Destroyer. In fact, he goes through the effort of destroying all of his research relating to it and vowing to never use it. When I watched this film for the first time, I didn't really understand this. They finally have something that they can use to take down They finally have a weapon that can take down the devastating threat that is Godzilla, and Dr. Serizawa doesn't want to use it? Why not? Lives are at stake. It was only by watching the film again and again that I really grasped why Serizawa didn't want anyone to use the weapon. The Oxygen Destroyer represents everything that they are fighting against. A weapon like the Oxygen Destroyer has the power to do devastating damage to civilization as we know it, especially if it gets into the wrong hands. After all, what was Godzilla originally created from? A nuclear explosion. Another titanic weapon that man has no business wielding the power of. Using the Oxygen Destroyer on Godzilla is essentially fighting fire with fire. The problem of Godzilla arises from the misuse of powerful man-made weapons. So using another weapon of gigantic power isn't really solving the true problem here. Humanity's potential to destroy itself. After all, who's to say that using the Oxygen Destroyer wouldn't just create another Godzilla? What if it created something even worse than Godzilla? Something born from the very thing that destroyed the Destroyer. Like, do y'all understand how insane that is? No! Destroyer is literally the physical representation of Godzilla's biggest weakness. That's like if Superman had to fight Kryptonite Man. In the film Godzilla vs. Destroyah, construction in the Tokyo Bay awakens Precambrian crustaceans that were mutated by the Oxygen Destroyer that Dr. Serizawa used in 1954. They're basically like these little crab creatures that are terrifying, by the way, that grow over the course of the film. This is essentially his first form, and he eventually mutates into a second flying form. And we don't see his third and final form that is his true version until the end of the film, but boy is the wait worth it. Also in this film, following an underwater uranium deposit explosion, Godzilla transforms into Burning Godzilla. This transformation essentially makes him a ticking time bomb, as he's more powerful than ever, but also a walking nuclear bomb. If this internal reactor goes critical, he goes and takes all of humanity with it. So ironically enough, Destroyah is technically the only thing that can save humanity. Only he can eliminate Godzilla and save humanity from... But believe me, Destroyah is not the good guy. He is not the lesser of two evils. He is the true evil, and only Godzilla can stop him before his nuclear heart goes critical. So I just outlined one of the big reasons why Destroyah is Godzilla's main op. But there are others too. One of the craziest things about Destroyah is just how far he'll go to f with Godzilla. Even going as far as to kill his freaking son. Damn! Yeah, that's right. Godzilla Jr. gets murked in this movie. The king. Police! Help! And that wasn't even his final form. When I say Destroyah has Black Air Force energy, this is exactly what I mean. He will literally do whatever it takes to destroy Godzilla and everything he loves. And trust me, he may be a giant crab, but he is no pushover. He absolutely whoops Godzilla's ass in this movie. Godzilla gets taken to school, and Destroyah takes his lunch money in the process. Keep in mind too, Godzilla is at his most powerful at this point. He is literally a walking nuclear reactor and is essentially Super Saiyan Godzilla. And Destroyah still drags him around like a kid with a blankie.
Okay, I get it!
Look, Godzilla's my guy, but Destroyah made him his bitch. I ain't even gonna hold you. Godzilla was only able to beat him by teaming up with all of Japan and 20v1ing, my boy.
Now, what the fuck is this, a 20v1, nigga? What's up?
Oh, nigga!
Now, Destroyah only had one movie, and we are still talking about him to this day.
To this day! To this day!
There's an argument for Ghidorah being Godzilla's arch nemesis, yes, but he's also had the benefit of 15 appearances. Plus, he was in the new American movie, which I feel like there's a little bit of recency bias there. And yes, King Ghidorah is freaking dope, no doubt about it. But Destroyah only had one appearance, and he cemented himself as Godzilla's main op. I even got his SH Monster Arts figure. And if all that doesn't convince you that this nigga right here is the main op, then...
Oh, shut up, nigga.
I don't know what to tell y'all, bro. I'm simply just better than y'all niggas, and I'm simply just more known than you niggas. Get off my dick.
You know what? We all got our favorites in Godzilla's catalog, and if you feel like you got an argument for another one of Godzilla's villains, then let me know down in the comments. I'm curious to see who y'all's favorite villains are. But with all that being said, that wraps up this video. Sub to join the squad, and I'll see y'all next time.